Everyone, welcome to Aryam English Learning channel. So students, today's topic is a fellow traveler of class 12th, and this is topic is the second chapter of class 12th. In previous video, in part 1, I described you the summary of this chapter and also about the writer and also about the uh, chapters 2 paragraph. And so in this video I am going to continue the next paragraphs of this chapter. So let's start the video, and before going to start the video, the explanation of this chapter, do subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update related to this video, related to notifications. Okay, come on the point. On this night I did not do any of these things. They did not happen to occur to me. What I did was much more ordinary. Students, in previous video I told you that writer was alone in that compartment, in that rail, because writer was traveling from by train, and when he seated in that train or compartment, then he found himself alone, because in whole compartment there was no one. One or two passengers who alighted on the next station. So writer was totally alone in that compartment, and he was enjoying the feeling of his loneliness, that how can he sit in any corner of his choice, and how can he peep out of the window, and how can he open all the windows in same time, and how can he shut all the windows in the same time. But no one will restrict him, no one will protest his activities, because no one is present in that compartment, and no one get disturbed from his activities, from his actions. So writer was fully free to do anything in that compartment, in that time. But meanwhile a mosquito entered, and the writer gave the name of this mosquito a fellow traveler. इन हिंदी यू कैन से सहयात्री, जो साथ में यात्रा करने वाला होता है. Meanwhile this mosquito makes trouble for the writer, because sometimes he comes flicking on the neck, and seated on the neck of the writer, and sometimes on the nose of the writer, and sometimes on the hands of the writer. And writer was he was playing with writer, and writer was also trying to flick him, but he was unable, and also he started to enjoy that mosquito. And finally he said that my traveling was very interesting, very good, because I had got a traveler, a fellow traveler, and this traveler was no doubt mosquito, but this was a good fellow traveler. So in this paragraph, before entering the mosquito, writer was making plan to enjoy that compartment, that free compartment, but writer was unable to do any work in those ideas that was him trying to make, or that ideas was his thinking, that idea was his thinking, because mosquito troubles him. On this night I did not do any of these things. Writer is saying that in that night when mosquito enters, he was unable to do any of those things that was he thinking. They did not happen to occur to me. What I did was much more ordinary. The writer was making plan to sit here and there in his choice of in the corner of his choice and wanting to dance and wanting to practice golf stroke, but he was unable to do any of these things because what he did was very simple, very ordinary. And when the last of my fellow passengers had gone, I put down my paper, stretched my arms and my legs. When the last fellow passenger means when the last man who was traveling with the writer and alighted on his next station, then what writer did, he put his paper and he put down his paper and stretched himself fully, his arms, legs, and after some time he stood up and started looking out of the window in that calm summer night through which I was journeying, because the time of that when writer was making his journey, when writer was journeying, that was the calm summer night, that was the night time, and season was of summer, and he was looking outside also from the window, from his window, noting the pale reminiscence of day, and also when he was uh, looking outside of the window of train, he was trying to recall his memories of his faded memories of his day, and that still lingered, means reminiscence means क्या होता है कि memories, what is meaning of reminiscence, memories, and that still lingered in the northern sky. When the writer was looking outside his compartment, he was recalling his memories of his day, and still lingered in the northern sky, और वो जो मेमोरीज थी वो नॉर्दर्न स्काई में अभी भी लिंगर की हुई थी, ठहरी हुई थी, व्हाट यू कैन से, and looked out of the other window, lit a cigar, sat down and began to read again. After some time, writer crossed the carriage and looked out of the other window. He stood up, and he crossed in other that compartment, that carriage, and went in other carriage, and he started taking cigar, and he burnt his cigar and sat down and began to read again his newspaper. It was then that I became aware of my fellow traveler. When the writer started reading his newspaper and smoking his cigar, then he became aware that he was not alone in that compartment. There was also a fellow traveler of him. He came and sat on my nose, and that fellow traveler, means mosquito, came to the writer and sat on the nose of the writer. He was one of those wingy, nippy, intrepid insects that we call vaguely mosquitoes. I flicked him off my nose. And that fellow travelers, here writer is telling us about the form, about the structure of his fellow traveler, that he was one of those wingy means क्या होता है, पंख वाले जो होते हैं, जो विंग वाले होते हैं, means that writer's fellow traveler has wing, and also that was like a nippy, means उसके पास जो चुभने वाला वो था, because mosquito has a mouth that nips in our body, on intrepid insects that we call vaguely mosquitoes, and that was mosquito was intrepid, means you can say badmaas type का, and that we call vaguely mosquitoes, और जिसे हम ऐसे ही easily हम क्या बोलते हैं, unclearly we say that insect, what, mosquitoes. I flicked him off my nose and he made a tour of the compartment, investigated its three dimensions. Then writer flicked him from his nose, and but the mosquito made a small travel, or you can say tour, of that compartment, investigated all three corners, all the dimensions of that compartment. You know dimensions जो मोड़ होते बी में जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि 3 डायमेंशनल है, 2 डायमेंशनल है, मीन्स इसमें 2 बीमा है, ऐसे बीम टाइप में ऐसे बोलते हो, यू कैन से dimension that. Then when writer flicked that mosquito, then that mosquito made a small tour of that compartment or in the 3 dimension. 3 dimension means जैसे कभी ऊपर गया, नीचे गया, पीछे की तरफ गया, इस तरह से. That mosquito made 3 dimensions, visited each window, fluttered around the light, and also he visited the windows and fluttered on round the light of the compartment. Then that mosquito thought, you can say got an idea that and also decided that there was nothing so interesting as that large animal in that corner, came and had a look at my neck. Then the mosquito thought that everything is not vagueless, or you can say not so important as much that big animal. Means here large animal is used for the writer has used for himself, means as the gardener says himself here, large animal means in the viewpoint of that mosquito, writer was like a large animal. So the mosquito made a small tour of that compartment in the all dimensions, in 3 dimensions, fluttered around the light, and then come back to the writer and sit on the neck of the writer. I flicked him off again. He skipped away, took another jaunt around the compartment, returned and seated himself impudently on the back of my hand. Then writer again flicked him from his neck. He skipped away, and the mosquito went from there, took another jaunt round the compartment, and again he made a small tour of that compartment, returned and seated himself impudently on the back of my hand. And then again he came and seated himself. Where, how, in which manner mosquito seated himself on the back of the hand of writer, impudently. Impudent means क्या होता है, insulting manner में, in the insulting manner. That mosquito seated on the hand of the writer in insulting way, impudently. It is enough, I said. Magnanimity has its limits. Then the writer whispered himself that now it is enough. Your mischief is out of affordable. So, because magnanimity has its limits. Magnanimity means क्या होता है, उदारता. Has its limit means generosity has its limits. If you will be much more generous to anybody, then that person will take your advantage. So magnanimity means generosity is also has its limit. So twice you have been warned that I am someone in particular, that my august person resents the tickling impertinence of strangers. Then the writer said to him that I warned you 2 times before but because I am and I told you and I warned you that I'm a special person, I am a particular person, that my august person resents the tickling impertinence of his strangers. My august person means I'm a respected person, resents I'm a august persons रिसेंट्स मीन्स मैं एक क्या हूँ, एक इम्पोर्टेंट व्यक्ति हूँ जो कि क्रोधित तो हो जाएगा, बी आई विल बी एंग्री, आई विल बी ग्रज आई विल be angry on you because I am a august person, a respected person. The tickling impertinence of strangers, because you are, I will be grudge on you because you are tickling me, and you are impertinence. What is meaning of impertinence? Rudeness, you can say audacity. Audacity means हिंदी में you can say अशिष्टता या ढिठाई जिसे आप बोलते हैं. तो उन्होंने कहा कि दैट माई ऑगस्ट पर्सन रिसेंट्स द टिकलिंग इम्पर्टिनेंस ऑफ स्ट्रेंजर्स से, अजनबियों की जो अशिष्टता होती है उससे जो तुमने मुझे टिकलिंग कर रहे हो, ये इससे मैं क्या हो जाऊँगा, आई एम अ रिस्पेक्टेड पर्सन, और मैं जो है एक सो मैं आप पे गुस्सा हो जाऊँगा, रिसेंट जाऊँगा, क्रोधित हो जाऊँगा. आई अज्यूम द ब्लैक कैप. So writer assumed himself a black cap means like judge, and he condemned him to the death, condemned to mosquito death. He gave him death penalty, that justice, and said in next line writer said says that justice demands it and the court awards it. बिकॉज तुम्हारे जो कार्य हैं, जो अकॉर्डिंग टू योर एक्टिविटीज़, दिस इज जस्टिस दैट यू शुड बी गिवन, you should be given the condemned of penalty of death and the court awards is. और तुम्हें जो तुम्हारे कार्य के हिसाब से न्याय जो मांगता है वो ये है कि तुम्हें मृत्यु की सज़ा देनी चाहिए, मृत्यु डेथ अवार्ड देना चाहिए. द काउंट्स अगेंस्ट यू आर मैनी बिकॉज यू हैव मैनी मिस्टेक्स, यू हैव मैनी क्राइम्स. काउंट्स यहाँ पे तुम्हारे खिलाफ बहुत सारे काउंट हैं, जिसे आप क्या बोलते हैं, केस बोलते हैं, बहुत सारे केसेस हैं, दोष हैं. यू आर अ वेग्रेंट, यू आर अ पब्लिक न्यूसेंस. आप एक वेग्रेंट हैं, वेग्रेंट आवर स्ट्रॉलिंग वेफ यू कैन से. देन राइटर सेड टू दैट मॉस्किटो अ वेग्रेंट अ स्ट्रॉलिंग, यू आर अ पब्लिक न्यूसेंस. तुम जो है एक पब्लिक न्यूसेंस हो, means you are not good for public, you are an obstacle for public, you are traveling without a ticket, and the other offense of yours is that you are traveling in this train without ticket, you have no meat coupon, and also you have no meat coupon, so that you can't drink my blood. क्योंकि किसी को मेनली क्या होता है, कहीं आप कुछ खरीदने जाते नहीं जाते तो आपको वहाँ परचेज करने के लिए पहले कूपन, पैसे दे कूपन लेना होता है, फिर आप चीज़ सामान आपको मिलता है. तो राइटर इसीलिए यहाँ पे बोल रहा है कि तुम्हारे पास परचेज करने का या कुछ खाने पीने के कोई राइट नहीं है, बिकॉज तुमने परचेज नहीं किया है, तुम्हारे पास कोई मीट कूपन नहीं है, सो यू कांट ड्रिंक माई ब्लड. For these and many other misdemeanors you are about to die. Then writer counts him his crimes, that you are a public nuisance, and you are traveling without a ticket, and you have no meat coupon. फॉर दिस, तो कहता है इन सब चीज़ों के लिए, एंड मेनी अदर मिसडिमनर्स, और बहुत सारे जो गलतियां हैं. मिसडिमनर्स मीन्स होता है क्राइम्स, and there are many others misdemeanors that you have committed. That you have committed, you are about, so you are about to die, so you are given death penalty. I struck a swift lethal blow with my right hand, and the writer struck a swift, struck means होता है प्रहार करना, जल्दी से वो एक प्रहार करने की कोशिश करता है. lethal blow with my right hand, और अपने राइट हैंड से जो है एक डेडली ब्लो करता है. विलेथल मीन्स होता है डेडली, घातक, जानलेवा. प्रहार करता है, ब्लो करता है अपने राइट हैंड से, मीन्स इन ऑर्डर टू मर्डर दैट मॉस्किटो. ही डॉड्ज्ड द अटैक विद एन इंसोलेंट इजी दैट ह्यूमिलेटेड मी. डॉज्ड मीन्स होता है होक से ट्रिक, चकमा देना. ही डॉज्ड द अटैक एंड द मॉस्किटो डॉज्ड दैट अटैक. मॉस्किटो tricked that attack of writer. And in insolent, what is meaning of insolent? Insolent means होता है showing a rude and arrogant less of respect, arrogant lack of respect. मीन्स किसी को जो है घमंड अपना दिखाओ और उसकी जो है अपमान करने के, उसे इस तरह दिखाओ कि जैसे आप उसका अपमान कर रहे हो, आपके अंदर उसके सम्मान के लिए कोई सम्मान नहीं है, तो उसे आप क्या बोल सकते हैं? उसे आप जो है इंसोलेंट बोल सकते हैं. द पर्सन हु हैज़ नॉट रिस्पेक्ट फॉर यू and also show his arrogance in front of you, then you can say that in one word, insolent. He dodged the attack with an insolent ease that humiliated me, because mosquito became able to escape from that hard blow of writer, and writer humiliated. Writer felt humiliated, and he said that he escaped himself from my hard blow, from my lethal blow. My personal vanity was aroused. I lunged at him with my hand, with my paper. I jumped on the seat and pursued him round the lamp. I adopted tactics of feline cunning. My personal vanity aroused. Vanity means होता है घमंड, pride. Writer's personal pride was aroused because he was not become able to kill that mosquito. I lunged at him with my hand. Lunged means होता है made a sudden attack. Then writer again on that mosquito with his hand, with his paper, and also he pursued that mosquito. That mosquito was flickering around the lamp, and also he jumped on that seat where the mosquito was seated himself, but he became unable to kill him all the time. I adopted tactics of feline cunning. So because writer adopted a trick, writer adopted a tactic to kill that mosquito, and that tactic was of cat cunning. You know ना, cat बहुत चालाक होती हैं. feline means होता है cat, जैसे बिल्लियों की चालाकी होती है, उस तरह की चालाकी राइटर ने अडॉप्ट करने की कोशिश की to kill that mosquito, waiting till he had alighted. And that tactic was, he was waiting, writer was waiting to alight that mosquito from that place because he was flickering around the lamp, so he was waiting to come down to that mosquito, approaching with a horrible stealthiness, striking with a sudden and terrible swiftness. And writer was stealthiness means होता है clandestineness, या यू कैन से कॉवर्टनेस, छिपना, जिसे छिप कर आप कोई काम करें, तो इस तरह से. एंड राइटर वॉज वेटिंग टू कम टू दैट मॉस्किटो to down, and he thought, when mosquito come down, then I will go stealthiness, and I will struck at him horribly, striking with a sudden and terrible swiftness. और वो कहा कि एकाएक से प्रहार करूँगा और एक भयानक बड़ी जल्दी के साथ प्रहार करूँगा. And in this way I will be able to kill that mosquito. It was all in vain. He played with me openly and obstinately, like a skillful matador finishing round an infuriated bull. It was obvious that he was enjoying himself. It was all in vain. All in vain, ये सब बेकार था, ये सब व्यर्थ हो गया, because writer was playing trick, but all that trick became vain, and he was not became to able to kill that mosquito. He played with me, and finally writer accepted that mosquito was playing with him openly and obstinately. obstinately means होता है ठाठ से, दिखावे से, शो करते हुए, दिखावा करते हैं, लाइक ए स्किलफुल मेटाडोर. मेटाडोर मीन्स बुल फाइटर. तो वो जो मॉस्किटो था राइटर के साथ इस तरह से खेल रहा था, दिखावा करते हुए कि देखो मैं खेल रहा हूँ, एंड यू आर ट्राइंग टू किल मी बट यू कांट किल मी, एंड लाइक ए स्किलफुल मेटाडोर. जिस तरह से एक कुशल मेटाडोर होता है, बुल फाइटर होता है, और वो उस इन्फ्यूरिएटेड बुल को, क्रोधित गुस्सैल बुल को जो है क्या करता है, कमांड करता है, कंट्रोल करता है, उसी तरीके से वो भी कंट्रोल कर रहा था. मीन्स राइटर जो है, राइटर को एक इन्फ्यूरिएटेड बुल बताया गया है. यहाँ पे राइटर ने बताया अपने आप को एक गुस्सैल बुल, सांड जैसा बताया है, और वो जो मॉस्किटो वॉज देयर लाइक अ मेटाडोर, एक कुशल बुल फाइटर था वो. तो जो फाइनेंसिंग मीन्स होता है स्किल, वो एक स्किल्ड जो है मेटाडोर था मॉस्किटो जो. इट वॉज ऑब्वियस दैट ही वॉज एंजॉइंग हिमसेल्फ. एकदम ऑब्वियस हो गया राइटर के लिए, क्लियर हो गया कि जो मॉस्किटो था वो अपने आप को एंजॉय कर रहा था राइटर के साथ. So students, this is today's video of this chapter of fellow traveler. In next video I will teach you all that remaining paragraphs or lines of this chapter, and that line will be the that explanation, that video will be third part of this chapter. So this is the second part, and in third part I will complete the chapter. So keep watching, and do subscribe my channel, and don't forget to like and comment, and give your suggestions, good suggestions, and most welcome. So have a good day. Thank you.